Progress. Progress.
It's progress, darlings. Progress. Hello, everybody. Lisa Ware, Senior Group Leader. Today, we are going to be talking about the most important part of our business, the bit that matters, the bit that if we get it right, usually everything else follows through. And I would say this is the bit that nobody really wants to do. Isn't that fascinating? The bit that's the most challenging is the bit that actually helps us go forward. So I think it's something that we should not dismiss. We should actually tackle it head on. So I'm very excited because it's a follow-on from last week. And if you saw last week's, whether it was live or recording, you will see that this is following on from the Fast Start plan. So I'm going to share my screen and explain to all of you guys. I think you are seeing purple. And you are seeing within the Fast Start plan, if we went back a page, we've helped somebody build a list. And something that I always do as well is give them a memory jogger. And I will show you that in a moment. But let's say they've managed to get 20 names together. Okay, that's a nice start. I think everyone should build at least 100 names. Okay, and this is all about booking and appointments. Now, you can do a business launch. In the old days, I used to call this Pip-a-dee. When I was a single parent, I couldn't get out in the evenings. So I found a way of getting my friends to me. And that was, I used to have Tupperware parties and Pip-a-dee. I've got that much Tupperware, even 30 years later. But I used to get friends round and a lady would come and do a presentation. I'd lay on tea and bickies and people would end up buying bits that probably didn't think they would. And what would be nice was that I used to get a free gift, which was lovely. Now, this is similar. This is Utility Warehouse launching. I would say tea and bickies are the same. Don't go and lay on a big spread, because otherwise I think the expectation is, I don't know what they would expect, but tea and bickies will suffice. And invite a few friends and then somebody will come. Could you mute? Because I can hear things in the background and it's going to spoil it for those that are listening to the record. And yes, and people will come and they will watch someone experienced, so a supporting partner, do a presentation. You could take along your laptop, you could take along your iPad, or you could link in an HDMI lead to their TV screen with your iPad and do it. And I've done some of these and they've been really good. The downside of them, you've only got to have one bad egg, one negative person in that room, and I can see a lot of nodding and understanding, and it can spoil it all. So you've then got to engineer it very gingerly and very subtly and get them out of the way. But the proven method that's been successful over and over and over again is to have a supporting partner and to be able to make calls. Now, there is a great way that works. I am very old-fashioned. I don't mind telling anyone, and the people that are within my team have been experiencing this. So I have a good old-fashioned diary. I take a photograph of it. All the new partners that want supporting see it. They know that they must just put on the group that they're going to book, and then privately they send me the time, the name, the relationship to them, the person is, and their email address. And then I do a Zoom appointment. The best ones, as I've been discussing for some time, is when the new partner can be face to face and it's just the supporting partner at the end of Zoom. Because I sometimes think, even though we used to do it all the time in the old days, 3 of you there is a little bit overwhelming for that person. But if you're there, it's really good. Otherwise, it can be a 3-way Zoom. Now, this is the bit that matters. How do you help somebody come into the business? And I'm going to, you can see that. We don't need to see it. I can see you. How do we get them to do what we want them to do? And I'll tell you why. People come into this business with lots of skills from life, skills from their jobs. They are not stupid people. There's a lot they've already acquired. And they believe they know it all. But the problem is, it's different. This is different because we're not going to teach someone how to sell. We're going to teach them how to recommend, how to be in the art of show business, where we show a presentation and then that prospect decides. Now, the British public, by and large, are a motley crew. Aren't we all a negative bunch? Do you know what? Ask somebody, what do they think of the weather? And they'll instantly do nothing but moan and groan about it. So we have to word things in a way that's going to help them see positivity. So the way that I would say, Val, what do you like best about the British weather?
Well, let's face it, we do have a lot of rain, which makes the country that we live in very beautiful. So that's quite nice weather.
Absolutely. And isn't it nice, the changing seasons? Wouldn't it be dull if it was always the same?
Yeah, definitely.
Now, there's a positive stance on something that you could ask someone and it could turn into a negative. Now, I want you to write notes to this because this works. So somebody new, and you've got to say to them, you passed your test. We all did at some point. And we had a driving instructor. And that driving instructor was highly knowledgeable. And if we follow exactly his instructions, we'll pass our test and we'll be able to drive freely and get a license. And they usually agree and say, yeah, and say, right, now, you've got to understand that I am your driving instructor. And I want you to promise me you're going to do exactly what I say. Now, the reason you're going to say it like this, because some people come in and they will do it. In fact, there's a lady on here, she's been brilliant, and her name's Elaine. Elaine's been doing it exactly right, okay? But I get some people come in and they tend to be professions where they believe they're a bit of cut above the rest of us. And these people are a hard nut to crack because they already believe they know it all. But if you can portray it a bit like a driving instructor, you've got half a chance of being able to get them to understand that there's a right way and there's a wrong way. So that's the first thing. Now, secondly, you've got to say to them, there's a script. Now, none of us like scripts. It sounds so false, doesn't it? Who wants a script? But scripts actually work. So I always say to them, do you know, what I'm going to do is hand you a script, which you are going to adapt slightly. And it's going to be like you're Harrison Ford and you've just been given the writer's script for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, when you've received it, first of all, you're going to go, oh, I'm never going to learn this. I'm not in character. I don't understand it. I could never be that character. But actually, if you practice it over and over again, which actors do, they get in character. And all of a sudden, words that weren't theirs, they were the writers, become them. All right, so that's how it works. Now, this is the psychology, and it sounds crazy, but it works because people will often only do what you want them to do if they get the why, the cause behind it. Yeah. So now I say to them, right, we're going to give you a script and I'm now going to explain how it works. So let's now go the psychology of the script. So the first thing is, you've got to set the scene. You say to them, you are not going to tell them about gas, electric, phone, broadband, mobile insurance. Nothing, not a sausage. And they're going to be thinking, well, that's a bit deceiving. And say, well, the reason is, if you do, that person will already put up a barrier, because up to that point, remember, they found the best thing that's right for them, but they don't know about Utility Warehouse. They don't know that there's an amazing cashback card where everyday spending will eliminate the cost of your services. They don't know about the £200 boost. None of these things are they aware of, but they will put the barrier up. So that's the reason we don't tell them. So when they phone them, number one, they need to ensure that if there are two decision makers in the house, both need to be there. And you can say that I value both your opinion, both of you. And you want to go for the low-hanging fruit first, the ones that are easy. You know, people that would genuinely like you, trust you, and would do you a favour. Yeah, because those are the people that have got that kindness. So you get them and you ring up and Val, I am now, you're the supporting partner, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to say. So the first thing is, you've got to set the scene. And the first line is that Val?
Yeah.
It's just a quick call. Now, I promise you, if you don't put that in, they'll then think you're in for a social. And ladies, we're the worst, aren't we? Do you know what? We can chat the hind legs off a donkey. Yeah, men can be much shorter on the phone, but we women find it very difficult. So you've got to set the scene with it's just a quick call. And then you say to them, well, I'm after a massive favour. And of all the people I could think of, you're a person that I really value the opinion of. And I thought of you first because I know you're kind. Now, some would say that's rubbing them the right way. Okay, because you want to make them feel good. So now you've possibly got their attention. And then you could say, how are you? Now, this is an interesting thing because this is a bit of rapport. But can I tell you, when you do it this way round, as I've just done, when you ask them, how are they? They'll answer very quickly because they're dying to know what you've rung them about. It's psychology. It's a funny old thing. Yeah. So then you say to them, okay, listen, it is a favour I'm after. I've just started a new venture. The word venture is lovely. It's a bit better than a business, I think. Saying I've started a new business is very, very formal, but a venture could be anything, couldn't it? So you say, I've started a new venture, and before I'm let loose on the public, I really need some practice. I've got to get off the theory and into the practice. And the practice is all about me seeing the real thing. Now, I've got a supporting partner who's going to be showing me what to do, or he, and I need 6 supporting appointments as quickly as possible, because if I can get them in as quick as possible, when we do things repetitively, closely, we learn better because it's more consistent. Many years ago, I took my driving test and I took it in the police, and you did 4 days constant practice, and then you did your test on the 5th day, the Friday, and their success rate was really good. And it's because you were doing it consistently. Can you imagine, you know, and I know that if Jim was on here, I can see Annette driving, but if Jim was on here, I'm sure he would back me up, that when they're teaching someone to drive, if somebody only has a lesson once a month or once every 2 weeks, it's much harder because there's a gap and people forget. This is no different. Yeah. So explain that to them. Say, right, so I've just started a new venture. I'm needing a massive favour. You're certainly a person that I've thought about, and I'm sure I'd love your help. And I've got a supporting partner, and I've got access to her diary. And I wonder, could you have a look at yours? Because she's available and I am too. And I can do either Wednesday the 18th or Thursday the 19th. That's tomorrow or Thursday. Now, I'm assuming if you know them quite well that you know whether they work in the day or not. And for some people, you could say to them, no, it's probably evenings. Yeah. Or you could, if you don't know, you could say, do you work during the day? So you're finding out. Now, the reason that you give them a choice is because people don't like to feel cornered. It is no good asking somebody, are you free next week? Do you know what they'll say? No, I'm ever so busy. Wouldn't we all say that? Yeah. But if you actually help people to focus and go and look at their diary or their calendar, you've got a better chance. So I said to Val, are you available either Wednesday the 18th or Thursday the 19th? And then Val will come back with what?
Thursday the 19th, please.
Yeah. Is that the afternoon or the evening, Val?
Afternoon, I think.
Afternoon. Is that kind of before tea time? Sort of 3-ish?
Yeah, around about 3 would be good.
Oh, that's really kind. Val, can I just ask you, is there any chance that Steve could be around as well at that time? The reason being, I'd value both your opinion.
Yeah, not a problem. He'll be here.
Okay, now look, that's lovely. So I'm writing 3 o'clock Thursday. The only thing is, Val, and this is an important bit now, guys, please note this. This is called consolidation. And you don't always have an appointment until you consolidate it. Val, you've said 3 o'clock Thursday. Just want to make sure, because the lady that's supporting me, she's so busy. And if I or you let her down, do you know what? She can't give that away at the last minute to anyone else. So can you just double check and make sure there isn't a hair appointment or something like that in there? Is it okay, Val?
It's fine. It's fine.
Lovely.
There's got nothing.
Super. Val, that's 3 o'clock Thursday. Now look, Val, what I'm going to do, the lady is going to very kindly send you a link by email. It's an over the internet presentation for her.
Okay.
I'm near you, so I'll come round if that's all right. Can I come and see you both? Yeah, lovely. That'd be really nice. And then what we'll do, I'll bring my laptop, and what's going to happen is we're going to jump on a Zoom link, and we'll be able to see her. And what she's doing is showing me how to do this. So it's pure practice. I really appreciate your time. Okay, that would be so nice. Thank you so much, Val.
Okay, you're welcome.
Now, that is that one. If Val turned round and I offered her Wednesday and Thursday, and she said, oh no, I can't do either of those, I'm going to share this with you because it's funny, but it's true. I don't know how this works, all right, but it's psychology. When you give somebody a choice, they feel obliged to give you a choice back if they can't do it. So what often happens, they turn around and say, oh, I can't do Wednesday or Thursday, but I could do Friday afternoon or maybe Saturday morning. Is that any good? Now, the new partner has got the diary, so they know the availability. And that's fabulous, because then same thing, you can book it in and you can consolidate it. So the way to do this is to phone. Now, a lot of people don't want to pick up the phone. They're terrified of it. And I actually think lockdown had part of the problem with this. And also that younger generation truly believe that Facebook Messenger is chatting. Do you know, they talk about, I'm chatting on the phone, and they're not. They're texting. It doesn't matter whether it's Facebook, whether it's WhatsApp, it's texting. And the problem with that method is it's not actually a two-way street. It's not two-way communication, because you could send a text and you could wait a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, a day, a week, and you may never get a response. It's not two-way. It's actually only one way. So that's why we pick up the phone. There's a second reason we use the phone. You cannot show passion or intonation with the written word. It's very difficult, unless you're a really fantastic author. Okay. Now, I don't think I'm either of those things. All right. But when you pick up the phone, somebody hears your excitement. You just can't, you can't imitate that. You know, if I said to someone, oh, I've just started a new venture, I am so excited about this. And, you know, you're the first person, Val, I thought of, because you're such a nice friend to me. Would you mind being one of my human guinea pigs? Now, can I ask you, even though you're looking at me, forget if you weren't seeing me, did you hear my smile? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can hear a smile. And when people hear a smile, it's very difficult to come back gruff. It is actually quite a hard thing to do. So the phone is the best method. It really is. Now, there is a caveat to that, okay? And the caveat is you can be very clever with social media. Now, I'm not. So don't ever, don't ever look upon me as I never claim to be and never will be. But I have learned that on Facebook Messenger, there is a little telephone and there's even a video camera. And even if you don't know the number of someone, this is why you can help someone build a list, and they can have a list of people. And even if they don't know their number, you can actually go to their Facebook Messenger, find them. And when you press that telephone, oh gosh, you speak. And yet you don't know their number, which is absolutely fabulous. And I actually have done that. And that was somebody that taught me it. Now, there's other ways that you can make contacts. And there is a lady on here called Dawn Files. And a couple of years back, right in the midst of lockdown, do you remember when we couldn't go anywhere? Well, Dawn had wanted to join as a partner. And we'd saved her an absolute fortune. We met because she was the treasurer of a charity in the village. And straight away, Dawn, being the kind of person she is, she went, can you do me at home? I remember very well. And I said, yes. So I went and saw Dawn. But then lockdown happened. Dawn wanted to do this, but she couldn't drive at that point. She hadn't passed a test. And then our very clever company, UW, brought in the remote system. And one Friday night, very early on in that lockdown, I was out for a walk and I rang Dawn and I mentioned to her that they had this remote system. And Dawn very gleefully said, oh, I can do it now. And you couldn't wait to join. Now, Dawn did something clever, and I'm going to share it. I can't do it. I wouldn't know how to do it. But what she did on her Facebook page, she did a background. By the way, guys, you might not want to do this, okay? But she did a background of red hearts, okay? And then this bold writing was on there, and it said something like, come on, you motley lot. Who's going to help me? I started something new and I need some help with Zoom. I think it was just that simple. She never mentioned a word about anything. And then all of a sudden, if you go to her page and you look at those posts, all these people started saying, I'll help you, Dawn. Yeah, go on, put me in. And then she private messaged them, and then she rung them and spoke to them and made appointments. Not one of them knew why they were on. And on a Friday, we booked 3, didn't we, Dawn? And Dawn said the second one was her best mate. They'd known each other 50 odd years. And she turned to me and said, Lisa, my best mate will not switch. She'll just be doing this as a favour. Now, I'm sharing this because it's important. I turned round and said, Dawn, would you allow her to make the decision herself? Because what we're going to do is you're here for practice. We're going to show her something. And then only then, if she likes what she sees, she might say, I'd like to have a comparison, please. And to Dawn's absolute amazement, as well as the first one, the second one, her best mate, said, oh, yes, please. And I've never forgotten this. Halfway through, she turned around to Dawn and said, hey up, Dawn. Why do you want to go back to cleaning for? This is much better. And it was absolute proof that you can get people on. They have not got a clue. And it's the best way because there's no judgment. Now, there's always caveats. There was a lady that I think about 5 or 6 down the line came on, and she was a miserable so-and-so. Can't remember her name, but I know you're laughing. She was a miserable woman. There would never be anything you could do to satisfy that woman. And she kind of halted it halfway through. Now they're out there, guys. All right. Jim Rowan says there's only about 10 nasty people in the world, but they move around a lot. Okay. And that's true. And I've met them as well. Okay. So we have to learn that there are such things as no's. Okay. Now, what's the other thing that I want to say to you? This calling lark, how can you do it when you're an established partner? Well, at this moment, again, UW have just transformed our businesses. I never thought I'd see the day when they'd offer £400 for anyone with 2 or more services that they could pay off contracts. Mind-blowing. Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day when they'd give people free money, £100 boost for a homeowner with 2 services and £200 boost with 3 services. I mean, this is nuts. This is absolutely crazy. And now people can earn their way out of a financial crisis for a ridiculous 10 quid. Steve Critchley said, do you know what? If we help them sign up 3 homeowners with 3 services, that's a 7,500% return on their money. 750 quid with a tenner investment. How amazing is that? So I know it's tough, but we have to make the calls. So when we're established, you want to make the call and ring up and say, hi Val, it's Lisa. How you doing, kiddo?
I'm very well, thank you.
Val, you know what I've been up to for years, don't you? Well,
yeah.
Do you know what? I just thought it would be really remiss of me not to give you a bell, because the company has just done something ridiculous, UW now. And I know it's never been the right time up till now, but if I was to leave you out, I think as a friend, I'd feel really bad, because I wouldn't want you to come back to me and say, well, why didn't you tell me? Do you know what, Val? You know, you're in all those contracts where you can leave poor service and higher prices because they'll give you £400 to help you switch.
Wow.
I know, it's a whole new game changer. And also, Val, do you know what's stunning? If I help you switch, right, go through it, we'll have a look. We'll do an apples for apples comparison. Do you know what? With 3 services, they'll give you a free £200 credit on your second bill.
Gosh.
So look, Val, how soon can we get together?
What's your availability?
There's the big words. How soon can we get together? Well, Val, I'm looking at my diary, and do you know what? I've got a little bit of availability, not till Thursday or Friday. I know that you've got different work patterns. Is Thursday morning or Friday morning any good for you?
I think Friday morning would be better, actually.
Is Steve around as well?
Yeah, he is. He's here on Friday morning.
Oh, magic. Because do you know what? I think it'd be wise for you both to see it, because I know you make decisions together. And do you know what? I don't want to be in your face with this. I just want to show you everything. We'll look at a comparison and let's see how much we can get your bills down. Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, guys. So what I've done there is I've covered new people and existing people. All right, because there is 2 options. I know it's tempting to text and WhatsApp. We all get those moments when we just don't want to pick up the phone. Who feels like that? I do. But the funny thing is, what I've learned is when I make the first call and I've got it out of the way, and top tip is always go for the easiest first. You know, So when I'm doing my calling, it's welcome calls, first of all, to new partners, because it makes me feel good. There's nothing lovelier than welcoming a new partner in. And then it's like, come on, Lisa, you've got to do a bit of prospecting, girl. And then and the first one is always a bit awkward, but as soon as you start doing it, all of a sudden it's just like, well, actually, this is right. And in fact, there is a fantastic little piece that's just gone on to one of my teams. And there's an SGL called Stavros. We all know Stav, Michaelides. And he's on about all his 870 odd no's. And I tell you what, I'm going to share it out to the rest of the teams because it is clever. And I want you to see that no's are part of the price of the wonderful money that we have to earn. Okay, I still get them. But the more you do something, the more skilled you get, the more competent you get, your confidence gains, and you naturally get better at it. It's just the way it is. There is no short change to this. So guys, any questions? Because I've gone through that at such breakneck speed, but that's what I do with every new partner. Please note the analogy of the driving instructor. Get their say that they promise to do it the way that I show them. Anyone got a question? If not, no. So you're all going to come off here and make loads of calls. Excellent. Can I just say to you, some people say to me, when's the best time to phone? There isn't, I promise. I've always aimed my calling late morning or the time that most people would never think to call, which is between about 4:30 and 8. And people will go, oh no, they'll be cooking the dinner, they'll be dealing with the children, oh, they'll be watching Procrastination Street, whatever. There is never a right time, but the reality, those are the times that they're usually in. That's the time they're usually in. So you've got to phone them when they're in. And I tell you why, you can phone them when they're out, but they're often busy doing stuff. And they may not necessarily have they may not use their calendar on their phone or stuff like that. Okay. So that's why I say, just do it. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And this is the starting main activity that will absolutely boost your business. And by the way, I said about Saturday nights. Do you know what? Elaine here, bless her, there was me sat down on Saturday in the evening, and there she is. I've got another one for you, Lisa. And about 10 minutes later, I've got another one for you. And then one came in so late, I thought, does this woman sleep? But the reality is, people have different work times. And if you're phoning friends, you'll know whether or not they're actually up late. Like I know there's certain friends I could phone. I could phone them at 11 o'clock and they'd answer. I know that, but I wouldn't do that with people I didn't know. All right. Yes, Kevin, I would phone you. Guys, I'm going to say bye. And it will be same time, same place next Tuesday. If you've got any ideas what you'd like me to cover, I'm really happy to do anything. Drop me a line as you would on private WhatsApp. Lovely to see you all, and I hope that was helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Very good.